MotoGP riders brake from over 350 kilometers per hour with millimeter precision. Isle of Man TT riders thread between stone walls at nearly 300 kilometers per hour on public roads. But which corners truly push both rider and machine to the absolute limit? Today, we are ranking the 5 most dangerous sections in motorcycle racing. Not by reputation, not by highlight reel moments, but by the split-second decisions, raw physics, and brutal consequences that define them. MotoGP versus Isle of Man TT. Science versus survival. 5 corners. 1 ranked documentary. Let's go. Ballaugh Bridge. This is a humpback bridge in the middle of a village. A real bridge. The kind you drive over in your car and barely notice. And TT riders hit it at racing speed, launching the motorcycle completely into the air before landing and immediately setting up for the next section. The motorcycle leaves the ground. Both tires lose contact with the road simultaneously at speed in a race. The rider is managing the landing angle in the air with body position alone. 2 nose heavy on landing, and the front forks slam down with enough force to collapse the front end. 2 tail heavy and the rear smashes down, unloading the front and pitching the bike sideways. And there is no recovery time. The next section requires immediate precision setup because the road doesn't wait for you to settle the bike. What makes it dangerous? Full airtime over a real road bridge, violent landing forces, no runoff on either side, and 0 time between landing and the next technical demand. The Corkscrew at Laguna Seca is arguably the most famous corner sequence in motorcycle racing. And even though it no longer hosts MotoGP regularly, its place in this list is non-negotiable. This is a blind left-right downhill sequence, a combination of turns that drops nearly 18 meters in elevation in a matter of seconds. The rider crests the hill, and the road simply disappears from view. There is no reference point, no visible apex, no way to see where the road goes until you are already turning. The sudden elevation drop changes the entire weight distribution of the bike mid-corner. The front loads up dramatically as the road falls away, then unloads as the direction changes. The rider is fighting forces going in opposite directions simultaneously. And then there are the overtakes. The Corkscrew has produced some of the most dramatic passes in MotoGP history precisely because the blind approach and compressed braking zone create opportunities that border on reckless. What makes it dangerous? Blind entry, 18-meter elevation drop, direction change under extreme weight transfer, and a corner where the margin for error disappears the moment you commit. Some of you will recognize this name. In May 2026, Doran's Bend became part of the conversation around Daniel Ingham, the rider who lost his life at this section during TT qualifying. Doran's Bend is a fast left-hander leading into the Glen Helen section. Blind approach, no runoff, stone walls, and a required precision measured not in meters, not in centimeters, but in the kind of margin that separates a clean exit from catastrophe. The blind approach is the critical detail. The rider cannot see the apex until they are already committed to the corner. The line must be trusted completely, memorized in practice, rehearsed lap after lap until it is automatic, because there is no time to adjust once you are in. And if the line is wrong, there is nowhere to go. The road does not forgive. The walls do not move. What makes it dangerous? Completely blind approach, 0 runoff, stone wall boundaries, absolute precision required, and a speed that leaves no time for correction once committed. Circuit of the Americas, Austin, Texas. Turn 11 is one of the hardest braking zones in MotoGP and one of the most technically demanding corners on the entire calendar. The approach speed is extreme, the braking point comes late, and the front tire is being asked to absorb deceleration forces that push the limits of what carbon fiber brakes and modern rubber can handle. The load on the front tire at maximum braking here is enormous. The fork compression is violent, And under this kind of pressure, race pressure, championship pressure, or rival alongside you, it is easy to lock the front brake. A front lock at turn 11 entry speed means the tire stops rotating. The gyroscopic effect disappears. The steering geometry collapses, and the rider goes down with almost no warning and almost no chance of recovery. The G-force under braking at turn 11 is so extreme that riders train specifically for this kind of deceleration, building neck strength, core strength, and arm strength just to stay on the bike while it is being slowed from racing speed to corner speed in a fraction of the straight. What makes it dangerous? One of the heaviest braking zones in MotoGP, extreme front tire load, high risk of front lock under pressure, and a consequence that is always severe. And here we are, the most dangerous corner in motorcycle racing. The Verandah, 30 miles into the lap, high on the mountain, exposed to winds that can gust over 100 miles per hour across this section. The Verandah is a high-speed and very technical group of bends. With a sheer drop on the right, it can be fatal if you get it wrong. Riders are approaching 180 miles per hour, nearly 290 kilometers per hour, through a sequence of fast, flowing bends on an exposed mountain road. There is a cliff edge on one side. There is no runoff, no gravel traps, just the combination of extreme speed, a public road course lined with obstacles, and minimal safety infrastructure. The rider is committed for several seconds with almost no margin for error. At this speed, the time available to react to anything unexpected, a gust of wind, a bump in the road, a mechanical issue, is measured in hundredths of a second. In 2010, Conor Cummins crashed off the side of the Verandah at high speed during the senior TT race, tumbling down the mountainside, breaking several vertebrae in an arm, and damaging a knee. He was lucky to survive. He came back and raced the TT again. That is what the Verandah asks of you. Not just speed, not just skill, but a level of commitment, a decision to trust everything you know and everything the bike can do that exists completely outside the boundaries of rational thought. What makes it the most dangerous corner in motorcycle racing? 290 kilometers per hour sustained through multiple bends, cliff edge with virtually no runoff, 100 miles per hour crosswinds possible, committed for multiple seconds with no escape route, and a consequence that is always final. MotoGP gives its riders runoff zones, gravel traps, air fences, and medical teams at every corner. The Isle of Man TT gives its riders stone walls, public roads, and the mountain. They are not the same sport. They are not trying to be, but what they share. The physics, the commitment, the absolute requirement to be perfect under pressure. That is universal. The corners on this list are the places where motorcycle racing reaches its absolute limit. Where the machine is being asked to do things it was never designed to do. Where the rider becomes something more than human, or pays the price for pretending they are. This is why we watch. This is why they race. If this video taught you something, hit like, subscribe to Throttle Dominion, and share it with every rider and racing fan you know. Drop a comment below. Which corner on this list terrifies you the most?